Well, hello to everyone. It is Wednesday, September 6th, and time for another few words from the pastor. I have had an opportunity during these days to witness a lot of good things going on in people's lives. A lot of tragedy, a lot of sorrow, a lot of sickness, but at the same time, a lot of joy, a lot of hope, a lot of optimism. And I was reminding myself how those qualities of joy, of hope, of optimism, of kindness are very much a part of the spirituality of St. Francis de Sales, the spirituality that we are trying to profess and try to witness to as Salesians of Don Bosco. I was reading a little story, and I thought it was very brief little story, and it was about an author and someone that we might have heard of before, a lecturer, Leo Buscaglia. He once talked about a contest that he was a judge of. The purpose of the contest was to find the most caring child. Caring. Okay. The 4-year-old child whose next door neighbor was an elderly gentleman, he said, who had recently lost his wife. Upon seeing the man cry, this one little boy went into the old gentleman's yard, climbed into his lap, and just sat there. When his mother asked him what he had said to the neighbor, the little boy just said, "Nothing. I just helped him cry." Hey, 4 years old, what the heck, right? God bless us all that we were astute enough to know not only what to say, nothing at times, but just a reminder that we wanted to be a part of someone's life. Okay. There's another brief little story that was about kindness. How innate it is in some of us. We're just drawn to it. And the young see it, and the little ones really have an eye for it. And somewhere along the line, it kind of rubs out of us. And we need to make sure that we rub it back in. Okay? The little story about optimism is a one for me. It's also one of hope. There was a young man who was driving by one day a Little League game, a baseball game that was being played in a park near his home. And so as he sat down behind the bench on the first baseline, he asked one of the boys, "What's the score?" And a boy said, "We're behind 14-0, he answered with a smile. "Really?" I said, I have to say, you don't look too discouraged. He said, "Discouraged?" the boy said, with a puzzled look on his face. "Why should we be discouraged? We haven't even gotten a bat yet." Optimism, it's something, and hope, it's something that it changes lives. It changes the way we look at things. It changes the way we look at people. It changes the way we relate with the people in our life. If we look at it with optimism and hope, we automatically will be filled with joy. And then I just think how often as a people we tend to live our lives with discouragement. I hear so often all the evil in the world, all of the sadness in the world, all of the sickness in the world. Yes, there's evil, there's sickness, there's death, there's dying, but there's also joy, and there's also hope, there's also life, there's also love. And who are we just to close our minds to that, but open it only to the grief and the misery and the anger and the intolerance and the rudeness that seems to be so prevalent out there, but no more prevalent than it ever was, I don't think. Just we're more aware of it because of media, because that's what media knows that we want to watch. We want to wash ourselves in the misery of others, and the evil in the world, rather than in the light of the world. Choose to be part of the light. Look around with eyes that are open to kindness, open to hope, open to optimism, open to compassion. And all of a sudden you'll start seeing things in a different way. Somebody asked me, how do you grow in hope? How do you grow in compassion? By practicing it. By practicing it. If I was to look at my arm, well, not much of an arm, I can tell you, okay? But if I was to look at my arm and say, if I wanted to buff up and to get a big muscle, I can't just pray for the muscle. I can't just work for the muscle. I can't just wish that the muscle will come. I have to exercise that muscle. And the more I exercise it, boom, 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 who knows, before long, I might have an Arnold Schwarzenegger muscle. Probably not. I guarantee you, probably not. But the reality is, it takes work. It takes practice. We want virtue, we got to practice virtue. We can pray for virtue all we want. If we don't practice it, take the time to practice it, develop it within ourselves, encourage and make it a part of who we are, then we'll never grow in it. My prayer as we continue with our celebration is that we think of these stories. Think of the little boy who just intuitively knew all he had to do was climb into the lap of this elderly gentleman who was sobbing and crying and having lost a loved one. Didn't have to say a word. What did you say? Nothing. I just helped him cry and brought peace to that gentleman. Changed his life for that moment, for that day. And the optimism of the boy behind 14 runs before they even got to bat. Discouraged. Why should we be discouraged? It's only 14-0, but we haven't gotten to bat yet. Optimism, hope, joy, compassion, and love. May they be a part of your life. And in doing so, may they help transform you and transform the people around you because of what you say, but more importantly, by the words that you say, by how you live your life, the choices you make that relate to others. God bless you all. Know that we think of you, care for you, value you, pray for you, and wish you the very best of everything that life has to offer, and that the gifts of God have to offer as well. Mary, help of Christians, pray for us. Mary, help of Christians, pray for you.